Good morning and welcome to the Marketing Rocket Fuel podcast. My name's Michael. This is Drew. Drew, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. So we are in week 3 here, getting ready for our trade show and the Charlotte Build Expo, which is, oh my gosh, that is coming up so fast. By the way, if you're in the Charlotte area and you would like to meet us in person, I know we're not exactly celebrities here, but we would love to meet you in person. And it is free to attend this expo. It's not free to be in it, but it's free to attend this expo. And so if you'd like to go see, if you have anything to do with building, especially if you're in construction or anything like that, definitely go to this expo. You're going to find out all kinds of stuff. But if you're just you want to see what's out there and you want to visit us, we are in booth 232. So come on down and say hi. Definitely let us know if you've seen us on this podcast, because that just feeds our egos, and that's
Absolutely.
what we need every day. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Just to dovetail off of that, if you're in real estate, if you if you generate mortgages, certainly if you are, if your industry touches anything that has to do with a home, this is probably an expo that you would get some value out of. Whether it's new products coming down the road, whether it's trends in the industry. I've seen some of the keynote speakers. If you're just a business owner and you want to get some ideas about how to be a better business owner, how to market your company better, this is certainly something. And if it's free and you're walking around, at the very least, you're going to get some swag that you can come home with,
right.
Which we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But so Drew, I know we touched on this in the last episode, and let us know if you saw that episode, by the way, on what was going in the booth. We talked a little bit about the hidden cost of just getting there. Now, there was a decision that I don't know if you alluded to it, but I know that you've made a decision on it by now,
Yeah.
of whether or not to pop up or not pop up. Do you want to shed some light on that?
Well, so if you've never exhibited in a trade show and never done a trade show display, the big wall that is like on a frame that's behind people in the trade show, and a lot of times it's like the tables that have the branding on them, or some of the shelving and things. Those are called pop-up displays. And so when we started looking at doing this booth, we said, okay, let's look at the price of doing a pop-up display and whether or not we would use that again and again. Would it be valuable for us to go ahead and get one so that we could use it in other places? Because sometimes we do sponsorships and things like that. And so as we were looking at this, and we're testing the waters in this show, it's an experiment, as Michael said in the last episode. We're trying to determine if this is going to be a viable option for our marketing moving forward. But we also had to come back and say, okay, how much are we willing to invest in this experiment? We want to give it its best shot for success, but at the same time, if something's not going to return on that investment, or have a direct impact on the return on that investment, is that money that we need to spend? We're a marketing agency, and our whole brand is spaceships and creativity and rocket fuel. I think that we can get creative, take some of the stuff that we've already got, and then strategically purchase things to be creative with our booth and really stand out. Because one thing you're going to get with these pop-up displays is, yeah, you can put whatever design you want on them, but they all kind of look similar.
Right.
It's pretty similar when you're looking at these things. And so, somebody just bought a display, and we want to stand out. we want to be different. We want to show people that we can do things differently and help them succeed. And so we said, okay, let's start taking a look at what do we have in house and what do we need to purchase, and what do we want our booth to actually do to represent us? How do we want to stand out? And so, since this is our first show, we don't necessarily want to invest that much money into something that we haven't proven works yet. And so we're already in this thing for about $3,000 just to set foot on the floor, and we don't want to start just hemorrhaging cash before we actually start to see a return on our investment. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually just see what we already have so that we can determine what we need and make a plan for what our booth is going to look like. So when I look around the office here, I know that I've had some promotional products and things like that, but I know we've got business cards. I got lots of Jen's business cards. Have a few of my business cards too, but we've got a lot of them from Jen's. We've got these cool patches here that we like to give out at events. Those are popular. They're self-stick, and so people like to stick those on things. So we've got some of those, and I've got some atomic fireballs that I like to give out in our customized candy dish, and that's all Rocket Fuel Social stuff, which our main focus at this show is going to be escape plan marketing. But we do have some more of our business cards here, although these are the less expensive business cards. I've got a couple of different styles. Some of them are more expensive than others. Okay, so looking around the office here, oh yeah, we've got these guys. So we've got Bob and Buzz and Gorg, and these guys are always hits whenever we set up a table someplace. All right, so here we are in our storage room here at Escape Plan Marketing, and we've got a few things here that we can use. There's Devke. Hi, Devke. Okay, the first thing we've got is we have our folding table, which is great. This is a 3x8 folding table, lightweight. We picked it up at Sam's Club. Really great start here, and of course we've got tablecloths that fit over them. And actually, we didn't even print the tablecloths. We just got regular tablecloths that were navy blue that matched our brand color. The other thing I've got here is this cool table. It's a cocktail table that we picked up at IKEA in the as-is. We actually picked that up for 99 bucks, and so that was a great deal there. Next off, we've got our banner stands here, and so we've got Escape Plan on one side and the Marketing Rocket Fuel podcast on the other side, and so those are ready to go. They stand about 6 feet tall, and they really are eye-catching, so we've got those ready to go. The promotional products we've got in here, we've got stress balls and some water bottles, but those are all for Rocket Fuel Social. And like I said, we are here as Escape Plan Marketing on this trade show. And then back behind all this stuff, we actually have, you can't see it in here because we've got it all wrapped up, but we have a 52-inch TV that will be plugging our presentation in that'll be running during the show. And so as I'm looking at decorating our booth, we've got to think about what do we have and then what do we need to get. I think the thing that we're going to need a big vinyl banner that'll go across our booth, and so we can get one of those that's like an 8-foot by 3-foot banner, or I think even a 10-foot by 4-foot banner, fairly inexpensively online. So we'll get one of those, and that will really make an impression. And we're actually going to get that two-sided so that we can have it used in multiple places. We're going to have Escape Plan Marketing on one side, and we'll have Rocket Fuel Social on the other. So I think what we're going to need is some promotional products, some things to give away at the booth that are going to be memorable. I think I've got some things in mind for that. We need to have some print collateral that's going to remind people of what we do. I'm not going to get more pens because pens are a pretty common item, and we've got so many of them that we collect. It's not going to be a memorable thing. I'm not going to get your standard rocket shaped things. Everybody that's tried to sell me promotional products ever has tried to convince me to get like a rocket shaped pen or a rocket shaped stress squishy or something like that. And that's too predictable. It's not memorable. And so we want to be memorable, especially if we're doing this on a budget.
Super interesting. Cannot wait to see what that looks like in the booth. I know walking around, showing what we're bringing is one thing. Getting it set up on that day live, finding out how people are going to interact with the items that you've decided to cobble together to bring is going to be another interesting part of this experiment.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, looking at things sitting there in the bag that holds it, you know, isn't exactly exciting. But I think the point that I wanted to make with that though is look for what you've already got in your office. If you've got a small business or and you're looking at doing this, start with what you have, take an inventory, and then decide what you need to buy. And so, you know, we know that we're going to need to get some more postcards. We've got these postcards here that we've used in the past, but they're getting a little bit outdated. And so we're going to redesign those and have some more. We know we need to get a banner for behind our booth because we don't have a large vinyl banner. And so, but that's also something that we're going to get printed two-sided. So we're going to have Escape Plan on one side, Rocket Fuel on the other,
Right.
and we'll be able to use that in a lot of different ways. And so that's something that we said, okay, that's worth the price because we get more than one use out of it.
Right.
I probably will need to get some more business cards. I've still got a stack, but you know, with as many people are planning on being at this show, but of course, I tend to not just shoot my cards out to everybody. Um, and this is one of those things that we want to talk about being memorable and standing out. Um, we have postcards that everybody can pick up. Everybody can pick up a postcard. But if somebody's really interested in something, I want to talk to them. I want to have a conversation and hand them my card, and it becomes more meaningful then. You know, you're getting this, and it becomes meaningful. It's just like when you're networking. We've all been to those networking events where people are just like shotgunning cards everywhere. That's never my strategy at a networking event. I want people to have my card, but at the same time, I want to have a conversation with somebody, and so that card has meaning. I want them to
Right.
remember talking with me. And I think that's really what we're looking at as a whole. We want to be memorable at this show. And being memorable doesn't always mean that you have to buy the most expensive stuff. It means that you need to do things that stand out. Here's a good example. We're not going to be ordering more pens. These are great pens. I love them. They've served me well. They've got my logo on it, my website. They're awesome, but everybody has these. And we want things that not everybody has. At Rocket Fuel, oh my gosh, where's my stress ball is gone. Oh no, I'm going to have to get another one. At Rocket Fuel, we have these little pop-it balls. You know, because everybody's got squishies. Not everybody has the little pop-it balls, and so that was something that stands out as a memorable thing. And so we're going to have something memorable for Escape Plan at the show. I'm not going to tell you what that is right now. You'll see it at the show. This is something that you got to remember. Have a means of collecting business cards. We've got an empty jar here for business cards, and we'll be giving away something of value at this show that entices people to give business cards. Now, those business cards aren't just for like the high value prospects. Those business cards are not just for the people who are like, yes, I'm really interested. Those business cards are for the general public, people who are just tossing in a card to win something, because we're going to continue marketing to them after the show, and we're going to continue. They'll be on our mailing list. They'll be receiving notifications about the podcast. And so we're going to be building that mailing list as well. And those people, even if they're not necessarily our ideal client, they know somebody who is. And you've got to think about this not just as an instant transaction, but you know, we've talked about it in the podcast, the awareness portion of your funnel, and then you're getting that funnel down deep. a lot of people come to these shows and they want to find out stuff, but it's going to take them a while to buy.
Right.
And so you have to be conscious of that, that this is a long sales cycle, and you need to continue marketing to people after the show, or you put all that money into the show and you got nothing to show for it.
Yeah, so those are all great points. I do want to rewind a little bit and
Hmm.
get back to a budget and being creative on a
Right.
budget. So the first thing is to have one. Like if you don't have one, then you're sort of shooting in the dark. What are some of the things that you and your team did to sort of foster this creative process, knowing that, and we're not just talking money, people. We're talking not just a money budget, but
Right.
because of the short time window, we're also talking about a time budget as well. So, what are some of the things that you did to foster that creative process, knowing that you didn't have a lot of time and that you were on a limited budget? What are some of the things that you can share if somebody is catching this episode and saying, you know what, we're thinking about doing X conference, but it's a short time away or even a long time away?
Hmm.
Uh, Talk about that a little bit, Drew, as far as being creative on a budget.
Well, I mean, we sped up the process to be sure, but the first thing that we did after we made the decision to do this is we got together as a team and let people share ideas. Now, I'm not a big brainstorm meeting person, because usually what happens when you're brainstorming is people have ideas, but they don't always perform well in a group setting.
Right.
And so maybe they're afraid to share their ideas. So we kind of put the question out ahead of our meeting and say, here's what we're doing. We'd like you to think about some ideas that you have. And then we come back and then we say, okay, everybody's going to share what their ideas are. And that way they have a chance to at least make some notes and be prepared. So it's intentional brainstorming. Um, and it's not just like a spur of the moment kind of thing. Now, what that usually does is it generates new ideas from those initial ideas, because everybody's going to come up with kind of the baseline ideas first. And you've got to be willing to look past the baseline and say, okay, we've got here's a here's a good idea. How can we make this idea better? Or, everybody's doing that idea. What can we do to kind of turn it on its head? Um, One of the simplest things we do is standing right there. There's Bob. Um, we've got Bob and his friend Buzz and some other alien figurines, and they just come and hang out in the booth. And it seems like such a silly, stupid thing, but people love that. It gets people in the booth to start a conversation. Even if the conversation is about what's that, then it starts a conversation. And if you know what your talking points are, but you're also listening to people as they come in, you can build that conversation into something bigger, and that becomes more memorable. If you're listening to people and it's clear that you're listening to people, make an effort to remember their names. Fortunately, at these events, a lot of people wear name tags. Um, Always wear your name tag, by the way. That drives me crazy. You go to a trade show and somebody doesn't have a name tag on,
Right.
and they're exhibiting. There's two pet peeves of mine. Sidebar. Uh, Two pet peeves of mine at trade shows, and this is as an attendee when I go to a trade show. I hate to see these two things. Okay. First, if you're not wearing a name tag as an exhibitor, if you're not wearing a name tag that's clearly visible, because as an attendee, I'm meeting 1,000 other businesses there and other people on the floor, I am not going to remember your name. You've got to give me a reason and help me remember your name. And so have
Right.
your name tag on. That's the first thing. The second thing is people who sit down inside their booths waiting for somebody to come talk to them.
Right.
That drives me insane. If you're at an event and you've got a table at the front of your booth and you're sitting down behind that table, you instantly tell me you don't care about being there.
Right.
That you were voluntold to do this and you don't care. So whether it's you as the business owner or your people or you're one of the people, stand up, get in front of the table. If you got a table in your booth, like a rectangular table, get in front of the table. Better yet, move the table to the back of the booth. Our rectangular table, we're setting the TV on it that's going to have our display running. It's at the back of the booth. We have a round cocktail table that was in the video there we just showed. We have a round cocktail table that we will stand at, and it is bar height, so we're standing up at this event. Now that makes for a long day. Wear comfortable shoes because you're going to be standing. Plan on standing. If you can get a mat put in your booth, but it's going to cost you probably another grand. So we're not going to do a mat. We're going to wear comfortable shoes and probably change our shoes halfway through the day. And so that's a trick I learned from running. I may even wear my marathon shoes. I don't know.
Absolutely.
That I'll be bouncing up and down
Yeah.
on those things. But those two things drive me crazy because they just show, you have to show that you care about being there, that you're excited about being there. And you have to be willing to show that for the first person that comes by your booth to the last person that comes by the booth. And it makes a long day. And then you're going to be out at the restaurant or the bar or wherever afterwards, networking with other people. We're going to be exhausted by Friday. I blocked up my calendar for that Friday. Nobody's allowed to meet with me that day. It's for follow up and sleep.
Right. Yep.
And so,
Absolutely.
oh,
I think, Drew, these are all, you make a great point. One of the things that we wanted to hammer down on in this segment was being able to stand out from the crowd. I truly believe the whole sit down and be apathetic attitude, that's probably, you could probably plan on 50% of the booths just being at that level of, I have to be here. I was told to be here. This is the 15th show we've done all year. I'm done. I'm over it. If you could just be engaging, polite, smile, get up out of the chair, you're going to be in the top 50% of the booths there, regardless of the spend. We talked about what it's going to cost to be there. Make the most of it. Let me ask you this, Drew. Sure. I know that you're going to have you've mentioned this before. I know you say you have a small team. Are you going to be anchored to the booth, or are you going to go out and sort of walk around and bring people back? Is that part of the strategy here?
There's a couple of things that I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is make sure every exhibitor in that hall has at least my business card, if not one of our flyers.
Right.
I'm going to make sure I'm going to bring them something with that they want, like one of our swag pieces, or maybe even just a piece of candy.
Right.
Just something that says, hey, I'd be interested in connecting with you later on. Some of these companies are going to be way outside of our target on one way or the other, and that's okay. I just want to make sure everybody there has our information. They know that we're a booth there. And then I will not be there alone. Jen and I will be there. Michael will be there some. And, if we can have some of our other team members there, we will. But I'm also going to be either me or Jen or Michael going around and just talking to people on the floor. Some of that may even be interviewing people with the questions for the podcast. But engage with people, talk with people, enjoy, and don't just lead in with your sales pitch.
Yeah.
Everybody there is being pitched to thousands of times during the day. Talk to people. Get a sense of how they're feeling. Listening is a lost skill in our society, but if you listen to people and let them talk about themselves, they will give you so much information that you can then determine, okay, is this a good customer, or help them find something that is good for them. Be helpful. I mean, what something I heard recently that I just love. I think I saw it on Instagram. Is somebody said they quit asking their middle schooler how their day was, and they started asking them, "Who did you help today?"
Interesting.
And I think that's probably what we can leave this segment with as a takeaway. You're not there just to suck in business. You're there to help people,
Right. To
whether
provide
that's with
value.
your product or service, or whether that's with helping them find what they need, even if it's helping them find a bathroom.
Right.
You're there to help people. Figure out where you can do the most good and do that.
Yeah, I think for the majority of the exhibitors and maybe even some of the participants, this is this event or an event like this is probably something that they just want to check off as something that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be the most enjoyable thing. They would probably rather be doing something else.
Well, and it
But
can be
as a
very
participant,
overwhelming.
yeah, as a participant and as an exhibitor, if you could be, if you could, if you can make this sort of event, let's just say suck less for those folks, provide value. Uh, Heck, Drew, you want to stand out from a crowd. That's what the bullet point says. You want to be memorable. If you could make somebody laugh, if you could be humorous in a professional way and get them to realize that not all parts of this event are going to be bad, that they can actually enjoy themselves here, that you're going to provide some value for them, that you're going to be memorable in a humorous, educational way, then it's a win for everybody involved, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm looking forward to with regards to this. I'm an extreme introvert. Like, get me in a crowd, I'm going to be a wallflower. So part of this exercise for me is to be, forward facing, be engaging, be memorable, be on brand, and hopefully make this event better for those that are going to it.
And we'll see if my beard grows in by the time we're there.
Yeah, I've tried. This is like 3 weeks for me.
Yeah.
So not gonna happen.
This is like 2 weeks. Well, no, 3 weeks now. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know. It's November. I like growing the beard. Well, and when this airs, it'll be December, I think. So
if you've made it this far, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review. Let us know what you like, what you don't like about the podcast. Drew, this is an impending thing. It's right there. It's just
it's
right around
coming
the
up
corner.
fast.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited. I'm nervous about it. Any closing thoughts before we let folks go?
I'm just going to keep on this same theme of, if you're a small business owner, whether you're a solopreneur, Main Street business, or you've got a $10 million SME business, think about the risks that you're taking and don't be afraid to take them if the reward is there. Get out there and be willing to take a risk, do something different, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Fantastic. All right, guys. We are looking forward to the show, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys at the show. Don't forget, this thing is free to the public. You got to register. There's going to be the link to register to the Build Expo in December, and we hope to see you guys there. But until then,
see you at the show.